So when Whoopi Goldberg contacted Star Trek Next Generation creator Gene Roddenberry and the other higher-ups to be on the show, we didn't think it was going to be a joke, but we didn't think it would be as serious as it turned out to be. Because she played a major factor in probably one of the most devastating episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, because multiple people were killed, and the enemy of the Federation was not the Romulans or the Klingons or anybody else. It was the Borg. And the Borg at the time were unbeatable. Now, they first appeared in the 16th episode of the second season of Star Trek. A lot of people believe the second season of Star Trek is probably the best of the series. Now, it's called Q-Who. 16th episode again. First aired in broadcast syndication on May 5th, 1989. And it was shown in the midst of the 1989 playoffs before Hockey Night in Canada and got huge ratings. It was written by executive producer Maurice Hurley and directed by Rob Bowman. Q-Who marked the first appearance of the Borg, who were designed by Hurley and originally intended to appear in the first season episode, The Neutral Zone. Now, feature music was by Ron Jones with beautiful cinematography by Edward R. Brown. Production code 142, and again appeared May 18th, with John Delancey, our great Days of Our Lives graduate, returning as Q. Now, in this episode, the almost omnipotent entity known as Q, played by John Delancey, arrives on the Enterprise and decides that Captain Jean-Luc Picard is ignorant and overconfident, which he is. Q then sends the ship across the galaxy where the crew make a first contact with a cybernetically enhanced assimilating race known as the Borg. Now, there's hints of the Borg in the last episode of the first season. Now, after trying to make peace and then trying to destroy the Borg ship and failing at boat, Picard is forced to beg for Q's help. Now, costume designs were created by Dorinda Wood, while Michael Westmore developed the prosthetics worn on the actors' heads. Their designs were reminiscent of creations of H.R. Geiger and the character Lord Dredd from the TV series Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. The episode went heavily over budget and nearly required additional filming time. Q-Who did get big ratings in the States, 10.3 million. The critical reception was positive, with the episode described as the first great episode of the series, which I think it is not, but that's just some critics don't believe in the truth. It was nominated for 3 Emmys, winning 2. Now, in this one, on the way back to his quarters, Picard steps off a turbolift, and instead of finding himself in a corridor aboard the Enterprise, he's on a shuttle craft with Q at the controls. Picard demands to be returned to the Enterprise. We already know he's appeared twice already in the Next Generation universe. Q eventually calls him an impossibly stubborn human and refuses to take him back until he agrees to hear Q's requests. Q then transports them to 10 Forward, where Guinan and Whoopi Goldberg, who recognize him, warns Picard not to trust him. Q reveals that he wants to join the crew to assist them as he pushes further into unexplored regions of the galaxy, asserting they are not ready for the threats they will encounter. Picard then chooses to make their own way into the unknown and rejects Q's offer. Big mistake. Irritated by Picard's arrogance, Q sends the Enterprise thousands of light years across the galaxy and then disappears. Lieutenant Commander Data reports that the nearest starbase is over 2 years away at maximum warp. A fearful Guinan warns Picard to set course for home immediately, but Picard is curious to explore. Women's intuition should not be denied. Now, the crew discovers a nearby planet that has shown signs of a previous civilization, but has been stripped of all industrial and mechanical elements, similar to the destruction found several months ago at Federation outposts bordering the Romulan neutral zone, which led to the neutral zone episode. Moments later, they detect they are then met by a large cube-shaped vessel, which does not answer their hails. Guinan warns Picard that the ship belongs to the Borg, a powerful cyborg-like race that nearly wiped out her people, scattering the survivors across the galaxy, and again urges Picard to leave right away or face certain destruction. Though Picard orders the Enterprise shields raised, a single speechless Borg transports into engineering and begins to probe the Enterprise computer systems using kind of not say a tentacle type hand, but a connector hand. Lieutenant Worf initially attempts to incapacitate the intruder with the phaser set on stun, which has no effect. Worf is forced to use the kill setting in order to neutralize the Borg. Soon afterwards, a second Borg appears and continues probing the computer, now proving to be completely immune to phaser fire. See, the shields were being adapted for each Borg's coming on. Completing its mission, it strips several components from the dead Borg, then transports itself and the dead Borg away. The Borg ship contacts the Enterprise and demands their surrender. The Borg then immobilizes the Enterprise with a tractor beam, disables the shields, and uses a cunning beam to slice into the saucer section to remove a cross-section of the ship, killing 18 people. Now, Picard orders return fire, and the Enterprise apparently disables the Borg ship. Against Guinan's advice, Commander Riker takes an away team to the immense Borg cube, where they find mostly dormant Borg drones and a Borg nursery. Data discovers that the Borg ship is regenerating and repairing the damage made by the Enterprise. The special effects aren't strong, but it is very dramatic. The away team is then beamed directly to the bridge, and Picard orders that they depart at maximum warp. The Borg ship suddenly reactivates and begins pursuit, gaining on the Enterprise. Q appears on the bridge and warns Picard that the Borg will never stop chasing them and cannot be defeated. Picard attempts to fight back against the Borg to no avail, and finally admits he needs Q's help. "We need you." Q obliged, safely returned the Enterprise to his last position in Federation space. Picard, though thankful for Q's lesson, blames him for the deaths of the crew. Q disappears, but not before reminding them again of the old preparedness, and basically, you can't be out here and not, be wrapped on the nose. Now, Guinan does warn Picard that now that the Borg are aware of the Federation presence, they will be coming, which is reflected in later episodes. Picard reflects that perhaps Q did the right thing for wrong reasons by bringing forward their encounter with the Borg, as it informed the Federation of what lies ahead of them as they continue to explore, which is talked about in many episodes after that. Now, the episode featured the third appearance of course Q, after Encounter at Fairpoint, a double episode behind Q, the latter of which had been written by Hurley under a pseudonym. Lisa Naff was introduced as the overeager young ensign Sonia Gomez, very luminous by the way, who was intended to be a recurring character in the same manner as Chief O'Brien, played by Cole Meany, who also appeared in this episode. However, Naff just made one more appearance as Gomez in the following episode, although the character later appeared in the Starfleet Corps of Engineers series novellas and as a captain in Star Trek Lower Decks, which nobody watches. Now, QU went $50,000 over budget. That was big money for '89, and at one point had an 8-day of shooting arranged, although this was subsequently cancelled. The overspending on this episode and elementary Dear Data resulted in the budget-saving production of the clip show Shades of Grey, which is probably the worst episode of the series. Director Rob Bowman was concerned with QU for a while, saying that we don't know day to day if we were making a stinker or a winner. It should have been at least a 2-hour episode. Now, Roddenberry was keen not to reuse aliens from the original series, and so the Ferengi was developed the main villains for Next Generation, but they bombed out. To many, they were too comical, so the production team were looking for a new adversary for Starfleet. Writer and co-executive producer Maurice Hurley developed the idea of an insectoid race with a shared hive consciousness. This idea would become the cybernetic Borg due to budget constraints, with the idea of a hive mind remaining. The new race would go on to appear in 5 further episodes of Next Gen, as well as First Contact, the movie. The Borg also appeared in the pilot of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the Star Trek Enterprise episode Regeneration, and repeatedly in Star Trek Voyager for the middle season 3 onwards because of 7 of 9. And she was on the show for obvious reasons. It had been originally planned to include the Borg in the first season, the Neutral Zone, the end of the last episode, but due to the 88 Writers Guild of America strike, the time to write the script was cut short. Hurley developed the episode over a day and a half with the Borg elements directly removed. The episode was originally conceived as having 2 parts, with the Romulans and Federation teaming up in the second part, but the plan was subsequently dropped. And this would eliminate a lot of Romulan episodes, because the Romulans are the pure enemy of the Federation. Now, this plot would have been linked to the alien scene conspiracy. The Neutral Zone instead simply made reference to the destruction of a series of outposts by an unknown enemy. Now, the design of the Borg was reminiscent of Lord Dredd, again from Captain Power. Now, the base and the head pieces were made from foam, and while Westmore initially made casts and model kits using polyurethane for electronic parts, he found it more effective to use actual electronics from damaged equipment. Now, the episode was nominated for 3 Emmys, including winning 2 for Outstanding Sound Editing for a series and Outstanding Sound Mixing. It was nominated for, but failed to win for Outstanding Special Visual Effects, with the award going to the miniseries War and Remembrance instead. Now, QU, again, was first shown, 10.3 million viewers, making it the most watched episode since the Royale 4 episodes earlier in the season, which is kind of a bottle episode. QU was watched by more viewers than any other episode for the rest of season 2 and the first 5 seasons of episodes of season 3. Now, numerous people have rewatched the episode through the years. On Tor.com, Keith DeCandido called Delancey's performance a triumphant return and said that Goldberg brought mystery and depth to her role and that Stewart just kills as Picard. Now, most people have given it a grade through the years. SFX described the episode as thrilling in a review of the season 2 Blu-ray releases. Now, Benjamin R. Harrison of the Greatest Generation podcast described the set design and the interior of the Borg Cube as if H.R. Geiger had gone to work for like Black & Decker and designed a microwave. That is sort of what it would look like. QU was rated the 16th best episode of all Star Trek television up to 2016 in a ranking by the Hollywood Reporter. Now, the Borg Cube is considered one of the most stunning moments in Star Trek TV history. Now, the Borg Cube has been rated as the second best spacecraft by Star Trek by Space.com. Now, Tom's Guide in 2018 rated QU one of the 15 best episodes featuring Captain Picard. Now, Rolling Stone also called it a incredible episode. Now, the Nerdist has suggested this episode as a starting point for a story arc on the TV show. They proposed a story arc with the Enterprise 1701D confronting the Borg that would include QU, Best of Both Worlds, iBorg, and Descent. In 2020, IGN recommended watching QU as a background for another Star Trek universe show, Star Trek Picard, because he was ingested by the Borg for a short while. The first home media release of QU was on VHS in 1994 in the States and Canada. It's also been included in 3 DVD sets. Now, the episode was also released in the Q Continuum collection of Laserdisc. The collection was released in 1997. It was published by Paramount and retailed for $100. The set included the 2-part encounter of Fairpoint, Hidden Q, QU, and Deja Q on 12-inch optical discs in NTSC format with a total runtime of 230 minutes. The collection came in a trifold jacket that also included a letter from actor John Delancey, because he will always be Q for a lot of people. Now, from my perspective, I was very busy covering the Star Trek NHL playoffs, because that's the year Montreal and Calgary had played in the final. But ladies and gentlemen, when this episode came on, it stopped a lot of people. I don't know if they were showing a hockey game that night. I think they were, because there was multiple series going on. But I think this episode really stands out for me because a lot of people didn't know what was happening until 15 minutes in. And pow, this is something that the Star Trek heroes cannot defeat. The Borg were undefeatable at the time. And like I said, you had the Ferengi that were brought in. They were just terrible. They were more like comic than anything else. Like bad Mexicans and Treasure Sierra Madre. But the Borg, my God, like a hive. How do you stop a hive? A beehive is has food and the queen on the mind. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here with our Star Trek podcast, the last one we did, I think we're closing on 1,000 hits in the last couple of days. Thank you for that. If it shows up on YouTube Premium, let me know whether you want to see more of my podcasts on that channel. So give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And don't forget, comments are very, very appreciated. Requests are highly, highly treasured. And if you do request something, if it's reasonable, I can do something on it, because we try to make it easy to digest an 8 to 12 minute or 15 minute in this case podcast. It's a lot of people don't know about how the Borg started on Star Trek. So if this is where you're finding it, please check it out. And there's been a lot better Borg episodes to come, if that makes any sense. Best of both worlds. I'm not going to give it away, but I gave it away a while ago. Have a good evening, and don't forget, Happy November. Bye.